CBSE Board, Class 11, History, Chapter 4, Part 14, Audio by Renee Matthew. The US President Andrew Jackson had a different reputation for the natives of North America. He was a person who supported for the cause of the economic and political privilege of the natives. He also refused to honor the Chief Justice judgment, and he ordered the US Army to evict the Cherokees from their land and drive them to the Great American Desert. He said, let them go to the Great American Desert and not out of the country completely. Okay, so of the 15,000 people thus forced to go over a quarter died along the Trail of Tears. So he refused to honor the Chief Justice judgment. He was against abolishing slavery or even giving importance to them. So initially it looked as if he was supporting for the cause of the natives. But what he did, he actually ordered the army of United States to drive them to the Great American Desert. So that is how we saw the Trail of Tears. Okay, Trail of Tears. This is the picture where they moved from that place and many people started dying on their journey because it was very tedious to move from place to place. So, the people who took the land occupied by the tribes justified by saying that the natives did not deserve to occupy any land. They were criticized very badly because they did not know how to put the land to maximum use. They said that we saw that the natives were not interested in anything. They were not interested in producing surplus or any profit because they simply did not know about it. So, they did not deserve to occupy the land. So because of that, let them not stay in the land was a statement which was made by the people who occupied these land, that is the settlers. They went to criticize them for being lazy and they were not able to use their craft skills to produce goods for the market, for not spending their skills to make profit. That was something which the settlers always saw. They wanted everybody to make profit, but this is not what the natives were interested in. They were not interested in learning English or even dressing correctly, which meant like the Europeans. Of course, the natives had a style of dressing, they had a style of moving from place to place, but these people criticized them very badly. And they said that let them die in the desert, they argued. The prairies were cleared. Okay, all the grasslands were cleared for farmland. More and more farms started increasing. Wild bison was killed off. Primitive man was disappeared. Started disappearing from the face of the land with the primitive animal. Primitive man and primitive animal was not to be found. That is, along with the wild bison, even the primitive people were washed off, wrote a visiting Frenchman. So many people were against it, but nothing could be done to voice the opinion. The natives were pushed to the western part of the land, and elsewhere they were often moved again if any mineral like lead or gold or oil was found on their lands. So if suppose after moving these natives, suppose they were able to find, suppose they found any kind of gold or oil or any resource in the places where the natives were moved, then what they did is again they will ask them to move further to some other land. So like that, they were not given any specific land, they were treated very badly. And many tribes were forced to share the land originally which was occupied by one tribe, to share it with other tribes who came and occupied. Even if there were not any place, if they did not have place, they were forced to share the land with the other tribes, and that of course led to a lot of tribal quarrels between them. They were actually locked off in very small areas, and these areas were called as reservations, which was often with land, and they did not have any earlier connection with these land, and it's like they were suffering in their own land without any rights in the reservations. Of course, the natives did not want to fight, or they did not even have the power to fight against the settlers, so they just kept quiet and endured it. So look at the way they were occupying. The US Army, though they came up, a few tribes came up with a lot of rebellions, but the US Army was really strong enough to crush a series of rebellions from 1865 to 1890. And in Canada, what happened? There was armed revolt by the Métis. There was armed revolt by the Métis and people of native European descent. These people fought with the Canadians between 1869 and 1885, but after that the natives there also gave up. The Métis and the Canadians, they were also tired of this fight which took place. Now we have a small source box here. We need to see what it says. It is very significant that from 1840s, the subject of anthropology, that is studying of culture and tradition of human beings, this initially got developed in France. It was introduced in North America after that. It was only because of a curiosity for the Americans to find out what anthropology or what this branch of study is about, to study about the difference between the primitive communities and the civilized communities of Europe. They were very much interested in studying about the difference between the primitive, that is the basic people, the natives found there, and the civilized, that is the different branch or different people who got evolved after the settlers came. So some anthropologists even went to the extent of arguing that there was no primitive people to be found in Europe because they were completely washed off. The American natives too would die out. So their main priority was to just kill these American people. They just wanted to wash off these Americans from the face of the earth. That was their actual priority. Let's see if it worked out. Now, a very important part of this is the gold rush and the growth of industries. What is this gold rush? How did it affect literature? How did it affect history? So they were fascinated by the reservoirs of gold in America. There was always hope. There was always eye on the gold in North America, and that is why many people came and settled here. In 1840s, traces of gold was found in USA, especially in California. California was the hub of this gold. This led to the gold rush. Many thousands of eager Europeans, they hurried to America in the hope of making a quick fortune, because so much of gold was found. They just wanted to dig it out and make a very good fortune. This led to the building of railway lines across the continent. Okay, they started building a lot of railway lines with the profit that they produced. Especially thousands of Chinese workers were recruited because they're very good in building and construction and architecture, very smart for that. So they started setting up railway lines. The USA's railway was completed by 1870. Not that of Canada. Only of USA it was completed by 1870, but not of Canada. Now, who is this particular person? The old nations creep on at a snail's pace. It is a quote by Andrew Carnegie. He's a poor immigrant from Scotland who came and resided in America, and he was the first millionaire industrialist in the USA. Of course, he is of European descent, and he said that these old nations, which was already existing in America, creep on at a snail's pace. The pace of these old people was very less. The Republic thunders on at the speed of an express. That is, the new formed government is thundering. It is moving at a very rapid pace. But the old nations will slowly die out, and they move at a snail's pace, very, very old. Now, one particular reason on why the Industrial Revolution happened in England when it did was because small peasants were continuously losing their land to big farmers and moving to jobs in factories. Many people just gave up land because having a huge portion of land will not feed or satisfy your hunger. So many people were falling beyond, below the poverty line, and they just left their land. They lost their land to the big farmers, and they started moving to jobs in factories. Now, what happened in North America? Industries started developing for very different reasons. Why was that? It was mainly to manufacture the large railway equipments so that rapid transport could actually link distant places. Okay, so railway was to be actually expanded. They wanted to give a lot of input into the railways so that they could have link with distant places, and it was also required to produce machinery which would help in large scale farming easier. So their only focus was to create more railway equipments and also machinery, just to convert the small scale industries to large scale farming, okay, and that would be very convenient for them to proceed with it. So industrial towns actually grew, and factories also multiplied as a process of all these things which happened both in USA and Canada. Everything just grew. Now we have a few points here. In 1860, USA was actually an undeveloped economy. Nothing was progressing there. But by 1890, it was the leading industrial power in the world. How did that happen? Just within a span of 30 years. Large-scale agriculture also expanded because of the strategies that they used. Because all the old grasslands were cleared and that got divided up into farms. So they started expanding everything, whatever resources, like it was very difficult for them to work with the forest and all these grasslands. So they started clearing up these lands and they divided it into farms. So by 1890, what happened? The bison, the wild bison, I told you, the primitive animal, it almost got exterminated, thus ending the life of hunting. The natives had followed for centuries. So natives always they were interested in hunting. So by now, the bison was almost exterminated and they lost their hope in hunting. In 1892, the USA's continental expansion was actually complete. They expanded and all the continental expansion was complete by this period of time. We have an area which exists between the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans. That was also divided into many states. There was no longer any frontier which pulled European settlers west for many decades. No longer we have got the idea of frontier now, because that is something which pulled the European settlers to the west for many decades. Within a very few years, USA started setting up its own colonies just like the Europeans. They became leading industrial nations, so they started setting up their own colonies, especially in Hawaii and Philippines. It became an imperial power. How did USA become an imperial power? Very important part. Now we need to look at the constitutional rights. Okay, the democratic spirit which had been the rallying cry of the settlers who came from other places, they wanted democratic right. They wanted democratic kind of spirit. They were fighting for their independence in the 1770s, especially the natives and all the proper people who were there. They did not want the Britishers to rule them. It came to define the identity of the USA, especially against the monarchies and aristocracies of the old world. They just wanted a territory for their own. Also because of that, the development of constitution took place, which gave them the right to property. Every individual was given the right to property, which the state could not override. The state was not able to interfere with that. So, democratic rights, that is the right to vote for representatives, especially to Congress and for the president, and the right to property were only for white men. Very important point. Democratic rights, especially the right to property and the right to vote, was only given to the white men. Okay, there also we have a kind of segregation for the color of the people, the skin color. Daniel Paul, a person, he was a Canadian native. He pointed out in 2000 that Thomas Paine, he was a champion of democracy at the time of the war for American independence and French Revolution. He said, used the Indians as models of how society might be organized. Okay, that was his viewpoint, using the Indians as models of how society should actually be organized. Now, he actually argued that the Native Americans, by their own example, sowed the seeds for long drawn-out movement towards democracy. So it was the Native Americans who actually sowed the seeds of democracy. They were the ones who taught the features and characteristics of democracy, the right to the people and all that, by the people of Europe. Okay, so everything was actually taught because of the settling which happened from Europeans. The Americans were forced to define and create their own democracy. There is a long drawn out movement towards democracy by the people of Europe. We were not the savages. So this is from that particular work which explained that he argued that the Native Americans, by their own example, they sowed the seeds for their own democracy, which was actually because of the interference of the Europeans. And that is how which brought about the winds of change. That is, lot of changes could be felt in the social, political and also economic sphere of life. And this particular point given by Thomas Paine led to lot of thoughts in many people.